Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation, basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is future creation. Future creation, basically, we are discussing one topic that is Sunil R. Nair, basically. Why basically money is required. So, one of the person told that these all are the reasons, basically. And who decides? That is 22 blood groups. And if they will not give the money, basically, that is basically, these groups are controlled by software companies, groups are servants of this 22 blood groups owner. So see, so software company will have to listen this group basically. That is this group basically. So you can just imagine that basically we have already discussed. Now basically coming back to this topic, that is this group basically. So this group basically can do anything basically, because this group basically gets the data and they basically sometimes basically they creates the data also basically. Sometimes basically they gets the data and they basically creates the data. Assume that basically this group basically gets the data from this group basically, and this group gets the data from 22 blood group basically. So this 22 blood group basically gets the data and this group basically do the future planning basically. This group basically do the future planning of 200 crore people basically, that are the Indian 200 crore people of the India basically. 200 crore people basically population data basically are decided by the
Vasectomia.
This group basically. So software company basically gets the data. They basically, this group basically collects the data. This group basically gives the data to this. This group basically allocates the data to this. And then basically the process basically happens. And this groups also basically gets the data from that group basically. 22 blood groups controlling people basically. So everything basically are controlled basically. So see basically, again basically see. Lots of people say that what is AI basically? AI basically just came just now only, but AI basically not came just now basically. It's a very old basically. It's a very old basically. It's not basically like that basically. It has came just now basically. So see basically.
Vasectomia. Vasectomy.
See the reason basically. So one other person told that this group basically handles everything basically. This group basically handles everything. And these groups basically are connected with which group basically? Lots of people say that the Bollywood industry basically are also basically handling the people basically. Because software industry basically is created by the Bollywood industry only basically. Because city creation basically are designed by whom basically, and controlled by whom basically. Lots of people says that also basically. But bodybuilding industry basically are just doing the designing stuff basically and allocating the stuff basically. They basically gets the information and according to that only basically they do the work. So see basically. Now basically one of the person told that who designed the Third World War basically. And up to what things basically the Bollywood, Hollywood and the software industries and the news industry basically knows about the Third World War. That person basically which is going there, he is a Third World War data. That person which is going there basically, he is a missile basically. And it's going to dump to particular area basically. And these groups are basically telling that basically few people are human clones. And if it's a human clone basically, then it's created by this whole group basically. And if it's not a human clone, then basically that is created by the satellites basically. So you can just imagine basically. So another person told that this person next generation will go, Earth planet next generation will not go. This person next generation will go, not go. So that is decided by 22 blood group basically. They only basically decides. And this group basically do the allocation basically. So you can just imagine basically. Up to this level information basically are collected. Prime Minister should die basically, or Prime Minister is not supposed to die. And this everything information with the Chief Minister, even basically the Chief Minister is supposed to die, and that is also basically decided by the public basically. कि ये जो Chief Minister है मरना चाहिए नहीं मरना चाहिए. And this their group basically, that is the admin group basically, they immediately basically gets the information that अरे Chief Minister sir, you are going to die or basically you are not going to die na basically. That data basically are used by the public basically. So please basically take care of that data basically. What data basically that is generating in the environment basically. And that data basically are collected by the nuclear power company groups, and they will immediately basically sets the data basically. Because they don't know who is Chief Minister and who is Prime Minister basically. That is the main thing. If you ask basically then that who is the Chief Minister, who is the Prime Minister of India, they will never know basically that. Up to that level basically they are basically. You can just imagine basically. This group basically don't know who is Chief Minister and who is Prime Minister basically of India. Here basically Prime Minister of any country basically, of Prime Minister of America basically. But lots of people says that there basically it's a president rule basically. So we will take as a president basically. Prime Minister of President basically. And few people say that Prime Minister of Prime Minister equal to group of President basically. And few people say that one President equal to multiple Prime Minister. That is also basically one chain basically. That is also one chain basically, which is connecting to the creation basically. Which is connecting to the creation. And that basically this group basically knows. IITs, IIMs, because they are designing the future stuff basically. This group basically are designing the future stuff, no, basically. And these groups basically are doing anything basically. They are collecting the business analysis basically, business analysis data basically, which is given by this group basically. This group basically. So it's very, lots of people say that basically it's very dangerous to handle each and everything basically. It's not so easy. So you can just imagine basically. See basically the chain basically you see basically. And vitamins data basically you see. And this basically is just one of the way basically of collecting the future data. This is just one of the way basically. Like this basically hundreds of ways basically are there, created by the government basically. Created by the government's group basically, who are basically handling the governments basically. So you can just imagine basically the creation basically which has already happened.